All right, more Super Bowl preview stuff here. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes. And one of the things I want to talk about with Mahomes in particular is his playmaking. It's something that gets a lot of attention, but you know what? It should get a lot of attention, right? It's really impressive. And this play is a perfect example of why it's so difficult to play against Patrick Mahomes. So this is Clowney on this play. Okay, Clowney, really good defender. Well, watch what he's going to do here against Jawan Taylor, the Chiefs' right tackle. Right off the bat, watch this inside move. And right here, it's a pretty good situation. I mean, he gets the inside, part where he wants to be. And against most quarterbacks, this is a disaster, even more so because look at Mahomes. You see him, he's not looking at Clowney. I mean, you're starting to wonder, man, is a strip sack possible? But this is where just the, insane pocket presence of Mahomes comes in. And also what makes it so difficult to pass rush Mahomes. As you see, watch the second he notices it, he's saying, oh, inside move, let me get to the outside then. He picks up 11 yards and even got hit sort of towards the end there, no flag there. But still, I mean, this is what Mahomes can do. Mahomes is absolutely capable of, in an instant, getting to the outside and picking up 11 yards on something like this. And there's so much more value in a play like this than just the value of the play itself, right? Because as a pass rusher, well, now you almost have to play him like, how you play like Lamar Jackson or something, where it's, okay, let's, make sure that we don't let him get to the outside, get outside the pocket and make plays happen. But it's so difficult to do that because obviously he's such a good passer as well. It's so, there's so much value in what Mahomes can do on plays like this. A play like this is another one where pay no attention to the circles you see on the screen. That's what the broadcast did. But I really want to talk about, again, still pocket presence and how difficult it is to pass rush someone like Mahomes. Watch how when this play begins. So it's going to be a specific situation I want you to pay attention to. That Baltimore Ravens interior defensive lineman looks to be in an okay position to finally get to Mahomes. It was, well done, well blocked by the Chiefs, but now there could be a potential issue, right? Well, watch what Mahomes does to counter this. Watch him kind of just juke him out a little bit, right? He basically gets his offensive lineman right back in perfect situation. Eventually, still couldn't find a place to throw the football, so had to step up. And here's the other aspect of Mahomes, too, that obviously we know about, is even if you're about to hit him, even if you're hitting him, how many times have we been sure he's about to get sacked only for him to do what he does here? He, while getting hit, floats one to Kelsey, who, Kelsey finds a way to make that dive and grab. I do think the hit kind of affected the throw, but not enough to make it an incompletion. Huge play there by Travis Kelce, but also, huge play by Patrick Mahomes. And just, again, it's the threat of how he can move that really is just so difficult to defend against. Not to mention something like this, where this is kind of an end-of-half situation. And, let's just be honest about the state of the NFL right now. Quarterbacks get really protected. They do. I mean, they want to protect the quarterbacks. They want to make sure that they don't get hit. And when you have a quarterback who moves around a lot, especially moves around a lot in the pocket, people always talk about the downside. Well, could get, you take hits. You could, get injured, that kind of stuff, which is very much true. That very much is the case. And Mahomes has had his share of injuries that he's been able to play through, but still his share of injuries. But watch out on this play. So he's going to, doesn't love what he sees, scrambles up, and basically gets clocked in the face by an interior defensive lineman. Listen, I'm not saying that was a dirty play or anything. Like, you're going out trying to grab Mahomes, reach out too high, hit him in the helmet, 15 yards, get added on. But that's, again, just something that is just an issue when you're trying to defend against Mahomes. He's already difficult enough to just get to and then tackle, but you also have to tackle him in a very specific way. There's certain things you're not allowed to do to him that you are allowed to do to, just a running back, for example. So because of that, there's just that added element of, frustration I can imagine for defensive players, but also it's really difficult. So, okay, let's go over here then. So again, this is supposed to be sort of a Super Bowl preview-ish video, not just how good Mahomes is, although, of course, a lot of it is going to be about how good Mahomes is. Well, what do the 49ers do to counter this? What's something that you can try and do? Well, the Ravens, again, they had a bunch of stops in a row against the Kansas City Chiefs in this one. So maybe let's look to them for advice. What were they able to do? Well, you see here, they're blitzing. And I do think that maybe sending an extra guy, which, traditionally is not the best way to beat Mahomes, but also I think part of that was for the longest time they had Tyreek Hill, who you couldn't leave one-on-one on the outside. Now I think that, something like this isn't the worst strategy in the world. Really what you want to do, though, is, you have to get pressure. Watch as, you see 5 guys come, and right here, there's got pressure from several different areas. And when you get the pressure, which again, the joke for the longest time was people would say, well, the way you beat Brady is getting pressure with 4, and people would kind of say, well, yeah, that's the way you can beat a lot of quarterbacks, not just Brady. But it's not just getting pressure with Mahomes, it's getting pressure, but making sure that nobody has blown their, where they're supposed to be, right? You can't let Mahomes run to the outside, essentially force Mahomes to have to run backwards or throw the football. Right here, that's what he does. On top of it, there was a holding penalty, which that can happen as well, right? Get the holding penalties. These are 2 tackles who will hold from time to time, so there's always benefits there. But that's the counter. And the easiest way to make sure you have this is just have an extra guy going after him, right? Although the downside is now it's easier to, defend against or get someone open. So that's the flip side there. There is no easy way, right? But even if it's just 4 guys, make sure that Mahomes doesn't have a way he can step up in the pocket and make a move, right? Make sure that if you're not winning your assignment, which is going to happen, right? It's football. If you're not winning your assignment, make sure that if Mahomes tries to run in your area, you can go make a tackle. I think it's just going to be you're going to be very disciplined if you're the 49ers here. It might be less about, what X's and O's do you draw up and more about just do players make mistakes or not. Can't make a mistake against Mahomes. Going over to something like this is the other aspect we have to talk about. Everyone talks about playmaking only in one way, where people talk about playmaking as, when you scramble around and make something happen, kind of what we've talked about for most of this video. And it makes sense. It's exciting to talk about. But, I'm a believer in, I think guys like Drew Brees and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were all great playmakers. It usually wasn't with their legs. It was usually with something that we're going to see Mahomes do on this one, which is, so it's a designed rollout. The guy who I've circled in white, the end of the route that I've circled in white, that's where Mahomes is going to look here on a 4th down and 2. So, hey, everyone who blamed Dan Campbell for going for this one, well, the Chiefs did it here. It worked out all right for them. They scored a touchdown on this drive. But right when it begins, it doesn't seem to be working out totally well. Again, you could almost justify Mahomes making this throw if you wanted to. But this is where the Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady stuff comes in of being able to see the field and read the offense so well. This is the read. This is where Mahomes is supposed to go with the football. Travis Kelce is more of a last resort option on this play. That's not usually where you want to go, but it's Travis Kelce, so Mahomes kind of, feels like, okay, maybe a last resort in certain circumstances isn't a last resort when it's 87 running down the field. Watch as Mahomes is going to eventually get over. He fires, makes a perfect throw, and they're able to make a big completion. Again, that is the play not exactly working as designed, and Mahomes just making something happen. And that wasn't with his athleticism. That was with his high football IQ, which is another thing that he really brings to the table. So for Patrick Mahomes and for the Chiefs, if we go over to my predictions page, this is, going to set up what this is. I did this last year. I kind of forgot I did this last year, but it was a fun thing I did. So this is just a tracker of all the videos I make. I'm going to give a plus 1 through 5 and who I give the edge to in each of these videos I make. So for Travis Kelce, going plus 5, Chiefs there, because he matched up really well, I think, against that defense. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to go, and it's really, again, it's his playmaking, not just him as a player. I am going plus 3 for the Chiefs. I think, and again, I'm talking about the matchup itself, not necessarily just the player. He'll be able to make some plays. I do think the 49ers are a very disciplined defensive line and can kind of do some nice things there to counter it, but it's still Mahomes. It's still the Chiefs. You expect them to be able to make some of these plays. So yeah, the total right now is plus 8 Chiefs, but again, a lot of videos left. It will, fluctuate as we go. But yeah, those are my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.